Good morning. I was debating on waiting till 5:55, but I want to go back and lay down a little while before I start a very busy day in which I will record this afternoon another video with the ambassador and Jace, and who knows who else will join us this afternoon, and that will simply be my video for the next day. But this is going to be my video for Sunday, and this is being recorded on Saturday morning at 4:44, as you see. I have a busy day ahead of me. Anyway, the title of this talk is Are the Signs of Awakening Becoming More Obvious? Last night I went and had supper at a club where one of my son's bands, Honey Miller, was playing. For the early part of the evening I sat alone at a table in front of the stage. But when the place became so crowded that there was standing room only, 3 ladies joined me at the table. As we talked, I realized that all 3 were in various stages of awakening. Later on, one of my longtime friends joined us. The 5 of us were the last table to leave, as they were turning chairs upside down on tables around us. Yes, the conversation was that interesting. In meditation this morning, that, and in light of what happened in court the day before, along with other things I've read recently, I was pondering just how awake people are, despite the best attempts of the cabal to keep people ignorant. Now, I included in the blurb a link to an article that I posted on Facebook yesterday called 5 Big Signs the Global Engine of Deceit, Lies, and Control are Coming to an End. And the 5 big signs are: the pharmaceutical industrial complex has been exposed, the media is no longer capable of instilling trust, the conventional food industry is collapsing, the freedom movement is gaining momentum, and the liberation of nature and abolishment of all things toxic is now inevitable. And of course, there are Benjamin Fulford's reports and things that I hear from the ambassador, and lots of things that I'm being aware of that people are waking up. They're becoming obvious to me. And to randomly have 3 ladies who have not known each other all that long, actually. And one of them has only lived here a year. Another one has only lived here a few years. One of them is the wife of a Washington, D.C. a policeman who is retiring this month. He will be retiring and coming back to permanently live in Florida. He's actually from Satellite Beach, Florida, but he's living up in obviously in the D.C. area. And then the other lady that was there, she's been in the area a lot longer than either of the other 2. And they've somehow met and become friends with each other. And then my friend Lulu, who lives in Brooklyn, New York, but comes down every fall to Florida, where he went to high school at Cocoa Beach High School, and the place was in Cocoa Beach. By the way, that's another beer and wine establishment. So many of the places where my son plays anymore do not serve liquor, and so I can't get screwdrivers. And last night, for the first time, instead of drinking something that I really don't enjoy, I thought, well, I'm going to try coconut water with pineapple. They had these containers of coconut water and pineapple, $3.50 for like a 16-point-something ounce container. But I had 2 of them, and instead of drinking alcohol, I didn't drink at all last night, except, as I said, for my first ever coconut water experience. And I almost felt like toward the end, but I think it was because of the conversation. I was feeling almost like I was buzzed. Of course, I hadn't had a drop of alcohol, but it was just such a high feeling and such a rush I was getting from the conversation that was going on with the 5 of us. And I'm realizing ordinary people from different stratas of society are starting to get it. They're aware of some of these things on the thing. They're aware that the media is lying to us. They're aware that something's wrong. You say, Ron, that's not awakening. Yes, that is awakening. Being aware of the world we live in is, to me, the first and most important sign of awakening. Forget the spiritual stuff for a second. If we don't realize there's a problem in the world, we're not going to find spiritual solutions. The first step is recognizing the world that we live in and becoming aware that something is wrong, becoming aware that our foods are being altered, that the pharmaceutical industry is poisoning us, that the media is not telling us the truth, that Earth is undergoing some type of a corrective. And what was the fourth one? The freedom movement. Yeah, even one of the songs that Honey Miller plays is about freedom. It's about waking up. And it was there again. Many of the bands that my son has played in over the years are original bands, not cover bands. He likes to play with creative people who write their own lyrics and write their own music, and who just have a more of a creative thing. They don't just do what other people do. Oh yeah, they play some cover songs. All of them play some covers, but it's mostly original music. And I like to support original music wherever I can. In any case, it was an interesting evening. And as I said, I'm here this morning, again with about 3 hours of sleep, pondering. Man, people really are waking up. People really are starting to get it. Even the lady whose husband is a Washington, D.C. cop, he's frustrated and can't wait to get out of the police force. He's been in it, how long did she say? 20-something years, and military before that. And, she didn't look, oh yeah, I think she's 40, only 40-something. And he's retired, so he must be like 20 years older than her or something like that, or 20-something years older. I didn't determine that. It wasn't important. But now as I'm sitting here this morning recounting it must be that there's an age gap between them. But he's frustrated with what's happening in the District of Columbia as a policeman on the ground, and can't wait to get out of the police force. Folks, people are coming to our senses. It may not look it on a big scale yet, but I'm seeing signs. And the fact, as I said, that the plaintiff sends me a notice of hearing and doesn't even bother to confirm it with her friend, who is the judge that she has worked with in the past, with his judicial assistant. You think that was an error? That she just simply forgot and took it for granted because he's her friend? I don't think so. Was the bank using this to simply set up an escape for themselves because they were warned by the Dragon family or by the ambassador to cease and desist in trying to aggress against me and trying to take my house? The ambassador sees it as a potential sign that they are capitulating in the whole matter. Of course, if the court obeys and grants my motion for dismissal with prejudice, then even the court has a way out of all the injustice. And as I sat getting the papers notarized yesterday with my bank manager, who is my primary notary, she said, Ron, what they have tried to do to you is totally illegal, unlawful. And she says, what is the basis? And so we actually spent, 15 minutes online with her searching the court records, and they have titles for different things, and when she goes to open, and these are public records, it's been redacted. In other words, I may not be using redacted wrong because that's taking certain things out, but the whole file, the whole page, the whole filing wasn't there. They've removed it from the public files on my house, the things related to my house. They've taken out the damning evidence from the public record. of how they manipulated to get PNC Bank title to a house that, as my bank manager says, they have no lawful ground to stand on in changing the collateral on one property and moving it to another property. They simply cannot do that. That is simply not something that, as a trained bank manager, that she could ever do. Now, she still believes mortgages are legitimate contracts, which she doesn't agree with me there at all. But in my particular case, and she said, Ron, I've looked at your records. I've looked at it. They can't do what they're doing. And then when she tried to show me the evidence, as I said, all of a sudden the files disappeared. These things, to me, are all pointing to the capitulation of the cabal. And of course, Benjamin Fulford's thing. My son sends me a Benjamin Fulford report that I get when I wake up this morning, and he says, Dad, are you aware of this? And of course, I've been reading Benjamin Fulford for a long time, and a lot of what he says has elements of truth in it, strong elements of truth. Nobody, as I've said in the past, knows the whole picture and sees everything. How could anybody? There's so much going on behind the scenes, so much happening at every level and strata of our society, but we're starting to get it. We're starting to get it. And when I commented to Dave Miller of Honey Miller Band that I really love the one song where he's talking about the stuff that's going on in the world, and I says, great songwriting on that, Dave. And he says, yeah, I wrote that one for you, Ron. And I could tell by the reaction of the people in the chairs around me that they really appreciate it and were listening to the lyrics. I could just see the expressions as I looked around at people in adjacent tables. People are getting it. People are understanding that we've been lied to. I mean, the one lady who's been married for 25 years to the same man has only lived here in Florida for 1 year, that was sitting to my right. She said that she doesn't pay attention anymore to what's on the TV, that her and her husband both are very aware of that we're being lied to, very aware that you can't trust what we're being told, and including religions. I mean, they all had some religion. Well, I don't know about the one lady, but two of the ladies I do recall have had some religious training or spiritual training in the church, and they're even waking up at the spiritual level, that a lot of what we're being told in our religions is also lies and fabrications. So all over the spectrum, people are recognizing that what we've been told is reality isn't. There's something wrong, and there's something more, and there's something happening as we become more and more exposed by the light. The light exposes that which has been in darkness, that which has been hidden, that which has been in the shadows, that which has been kept from us as far as the truthfulness of who we are and what's going on in our world. All of that is changing. All of that is shifting. There's a whole new energy going on that I find extremely encouraging. And I'm wanting to encourage you. And I'd like to see what kind of feedback some of you can give. Are you noticing among some of your friends that people that maybe seemed like they weren't getting it for a long time are starting to get it? Are you noticing that, or is it just in my circle? I mean, the ambassador often says people are so stupid. People need to wake up. People need to take action. That's true. But I see people waking up. And as far as taking action, we'll see how that develops and how that comes about. I think there's going to be some big changes happening very quickly as this year, 2014, comes to an end. At least I hope that that's the case. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you for listening, and namaste. Under 15 minutes today. Wow. Bye-bye.